Versatile Mage. Chapter 319. New Element, Demon. A crazy woman whose mind is filled with thoughts of killing people like you should just stay as far away from me as possible. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind killing you all right now. Mo Fan had had enough of Jiang Yi's bullshit. He had to calmly think of a way to make his way to the nest while the razortail drake was still drowsy after waking up from a long nap. This is the only way, if you really want to save them, Jiang Yi said calmly. On her filthy hand floated a bright red container, which looked like a drop of liquid. It was impossible to tell what element it consisted of from its eerie gloss. However, Jiang Yi could easily sense the overwhelming power it contained. Magic associations across the 5 continents were unwilling to admit its existence, to the extent that the governing body of every nation had forbidden its experimentation. Maybe it was evil and wild, but no one had denied its unmatched power. It was always the case when a new element was invented. The whole world would always be against it at the start. Humans were always afraid of the unknown and had deemed it evil. However, how could power be deemed righteous or evil? Just because it was too overwhelming. If someone were able to fully control it, it would be up to the person to decide if it were truly evil. Double innate elements. The young man who possessed 3 elements at the intermediate level. He was fearless and intelligent. Jiang Yi had never met any magician who would dare to trigger a breakthrough while surrounded by demon beasts. Jiang Yi believed that he was the only person who could control the new element. Maybe it's our fault that all this is happening. We're willing to accept our fate, but that's because of the sins that we have committed. You and your friends shouldn't be treated as a sacrifice. It's a very simple decision. Either you charge into the demon beasts and die like an idiot, or break this blood Sarira into pieces. Well, you could just turn around and leave instead. Maybe the people inside the net aren't that important to you, after all. Jiang Yi held her palm up, allowing Mo Fan to take a closer look at the blood Sarira. Turn around and leave. Mo Fan glanced at the heavenly eagle, which was getting closer to the razortail drake. If Mo Jiaxin were in the net, Mo Fan would not hesitate. If Xingxia were in the net, Mo Fan would not hesitate either. How about them? Even if he were able to calm himself, the urge to save them was definitely stronger than any fear of going against the giant lizards. It was actually not so complicated. The same thought had been occupying his mind all along. No one was allowed to touch them, not the devil Lunian, nor the razortail drake. Finally, Mo Fan said to Jiang Yi, "Give that piece of shit to me. We call it the demon, or you can call it the demon element, too. It's still considered black magic." Jiang Yi handed the container to Mo Fan. Mo Fan had no time to waste with Jiang Yi. He couldn't care less about the specific procedures, nor did he care what it was called. The blood Sarira looked like a drop of blood that had been frozen in midair. However, it felt like it was made of glass. He could easily break it into pieces with his fingertips. You have 3 nebulas due to your double innate elements. You should be able to provide sufficient energy to the blood Sarira. You also possess the summoning element. According to the information we collected from our 788th test subject, you will be affected by your summoned beast's lineage once you transform. Therefore, your transformation will lean towards something related to the lineage of wolf species, Jiang Yi quickly explained to Mo Fan. Unfortunately, Mo Fan failed to listen to a single word. The razortail drake had almost fully awakened. On the bright side, its attention was currently attracted to the astonishing attacks between the 2 advanced magicians. Otherwise, it would easily reach Mu Ningzhu and the others with a single flap of its wings. Clenching his teeth, Mo Fan crushed the blood Sarira between his fingers. Jiang Yi, who was still in the midst of her speech, was startled by Mo Fan's action. Meanwhile, the soldiers who were hiding a fair distance away were stunned when they saw Mo Fan's action. Their eyes were completely filled with terror, as if they were about to witness the birth of a devil. As the blood Sarira broke into pieces, a layer of thick, bloody mist gradually engulfed Mo Fan's body. Jiang Yi immediately backed off. She was well aware of how terrifying the blood mist was. As the blood mist circled around Mo Fan, it seemed to be inspecting him, as if it were alive. It was deciding whether the sacrificial lamb would suit its taste, as if it was something that had just been released from Pandora's box. Suddenly, the blood mist drove into Mo Fan through his pores. Mo Fan was taken by surprise. Just as he was about to check his body, his movements stiffened. The colors of his pupils turned dark, a depth capable of containing the entire galaxy. It switched from endless darkness to a mysterious silver color, then a fiery ocean, then a wild purple flicker. Meanwhile, his hair grew longer at an insane rate, while its color turned from black to white, similar to the smooth fur of the swift star wolf. His bones emitted crackling noises as they grew. His muscles expanded rapidly. Mo Fan let out a roar as he experienced a huge pain coming from his soul. The sharp fangs of a wolf could be seen sticking out from his mouth. The blood mist had vanished. However, Jiang Yi had discovered an eerie outline around Mo Fan, followed by blood-colored lines spreading under his skin. The outline was growing at a fast pace, similar to a newborn infant. Gradually, the image looming over Mo Fan's body finally resembled something. It was the evil-looking, savage silhouette of a werewolf. The swift star wolf. His blood was indeed under the influence of his summoned beast. A summoner who has established a strong bond with their summoned beast would be able to control their mind and soul better, and they will be granted extra power due to their mutated blood. Jiang Yi blurted out in excitement after taking a closer look at the soul shadow. The number of bloody lines continued to increase. They were joining together to form a pattern similar to what the swift star wolf had on his body. However, the power of the lineage they contained had significantly surpassed that of the swift star wolf. A beastly roar burst out from Mo Fan's mouth. Although he still retained his human appearance despite the bloodlines that had overrun his body, the aura emanating from his body was way more terrifying than a demon beast. His inhuman eyes and the long white hair that had reached his ankles thoroughly showcased his fiendish nature. His bare feet stepped heavily on the ground, leaving a trail of scorched footprints. The path he walked upon was instantly turned into a burning hell. His entire body was surrounded by flickering electrical chains tied to his body, actually forming a destructive domain. The soul shadow of a werewolf loomed over his back, showcasing the power and darkness he had full control of. Humans always had a tendency to imagine something that had never existed. They would combine the things they knew to invent something new, and if the thing they had invented was evil, they would call it a devil. The demon element was unacceptable by the masses, but it had limitless potential at the same time. Currently, 4 different elements had been combined together in a perfect balance in Mo Fan's body. He was the true depiction of a demon that had existed in the ancient drawings. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.